and your discretionary income and things of that nature, you can actually tackle that debt with the income that you have and the expenses that we will manage or help you manage. Okay? All right? Now, if you had manageable debt, there's a way to accelerate that debt. All right? Have any of you heard of the Snowball Method or the avalanche method or, right? No. All right. All right. So we'll go over that real quick. All right. Before we go into that, I'm going to talk about this here real quick. One way to accelerate your debt is to add more to what you're paying on a monthly basis. All right? Now you may be saying to yourself, well, I have a little bit right now. How can I afford to put in more to pay off my debt? All right? Well, let's think about it. Let's look at this example. Try it at least once a month and put the money you would have spent towards your credit card debt and put it towards your credit card debt. This small sacrifice can make a big difference in the long run. For example, if you owed $1,500 on a credit card and the interest rate you were charged is 18%, right? Let's say you were making a minimum payment at $37 a month. You would pay that debt off in 63 months. If you were to pay that minimum amount for that 18%, that $1,500. All right? What it doesn't tell you is how much interest you would be paying on top of that. All right? But let's say you paid just $10 more on top of that. Just $10 more. You'll pay it off in 44 months, and you'll save $272 in interest just by adding $10 more. All right? All right. There's a mathematical concept, and we'll go into this even more as we go through the different weeks. It's called a rule of 72. This was discovered by Albert Einstein. It wasn't invented by him, it was discovered by him. It was actually invented by an Italian mathematician. And he says if you take any interest rate and you divide it by the number 72, it'll tell you how long it will take your money to double. All right? So if you take any interest rate divided by 72, it tells you how long it takes your money to double. All right? Now, I'm going to show you a real life example of how this works. How many of you have a savings account right now? You don't got to tell me what's in it. All right? Do you know what rate of return you are getting on your savings account right now? 0.00. Somebody said trash. Wow. All right? Now, this is not a bank bashing session, but what I will tell you that across the board, you are getting less than 1% on your money, no matter where you go. You can go to a credit union, you can go to a major bank, you can go to a small bank, you can go to a bank around the corner. It's going to be less than 1%. All right? Let's say you got 1% on your money. One goes into 72 how many times? 72 times. Right? So let's say, well, let's take that percentage out so I don't confuse you. All right? One goes into 72 times, right? So if I was really generous for everybody in here, and I pulled out my wallet, and I gave each of you $1, and I said, put it in your savings account and watch it grow. Right? You would have to come back 72 years later before that $1 turns into a whopping $2. Now does that sound like a good idea? How many 72-year periods do you have in your life? One. If you're fortunate. Right? Now, again, this is not a bank bashing session, but what I will tell you is that your banks, although you've been told differently, banks are really not designed for your money to grow. Did you know that the bank is actually their primary job or their primary reason for existing is that they are a legal debt collector? Did you guys know that? That's their primary function, right? Which is why you have your mortgage with them, you have your car loans with them, you have everything dealing with debt you can have at a bank. You guys seen the picture? All right. Not to mention that they will turn around and give you a credit card and charge you what? 18, 20, 29%, because their primary function is a legal debt collector. All right? But where do most people you know have their money? In the bank, right? Now that is due to the fact that we have not been educated properly on what other options out there that you have that you can put your money in legally. And I say that all the time, legally, right? That you can get better returns, safely and legally. And what if I told you that these accounts have been in existence and been available to everyone since 1924? All right? Again, due to lack of education, we don't get privy to all the information or all the options that's possible. Now, the reason why we are talking about the rule of 72 as it relates to debt is because most people look at the rule of 72 and says, well, it's showing me how my money doubles for me in the good sense. But I'll show you how the rule of 72 can work against you as well. Let's say you had a credit card, right? All right, let's use this. Mary owes $10,000 on a loan, and the interest rate she is charged is 12% per year compounded annually. If she doesn't make any payments at this interest rate, it would take 6 years for the amount she owes to double. Because if you take the rule of 72, divide 12 into 6, divide 12 into 72, it's 6. So if it's saying that if you're not attacking this debt, guess what's going to happen? It's going to grow, right? And it's going to grow faster than that savings account you have, right? Because the banks understand how the rule of 72 works, all right? All right, so how do we combat this, all right? Rule of thumb, pay down debt quickly and make sure extra payments are applied to the principal. Sounds good in theory? Well, let's go to a real life example. If you have manageable debt and you're saying, how can I accelerate this debt? How can I pay it off quicker? All right? You use what's called the Snowball Method, avalanche method, acceleration method. All right? And here's how it works. Let's say you're paying 3 credit cards off at the same time. All right? Let's say you're paying $50 to one, $100 to another, and $150 to another. Right? Let's say you pay off this credit card here. Do you now blow that money? No. How the snowball effect works is that you'll take this $50 and now you would apply it to your next credit card bill. So instead of paying $100 a month, you're accelerating that next one by adding that $50 to it. Does that make sense? Yes, it makes sense? All right, and then you continue on. So instead of paying $100, now you're paying $150. And let's say you pay this off at $150. Do you now splurge on that $150? You can now accelerate even more. So now you're paying $300 a month instead of $150. Will you be accelerating that next debt? Absolutely. So you're condensing time frames by accelerating debt, by utilizing the same money that you would normally be utilizing and rolling it into the next debt payment. Yes, sir.
I'm not clear on the method you just talked about.
I'm going-
I don't get why is it $50. I'm lost. You said those three right there are three credit cards that you have to pay off.
Right.
You pay off the first one.
So let's say, so this is per month though. This is what you're paying per month. Let's say your balance is $5,000 here,
Okay.
right? Right? And then this one is $1,000 here, right? And let's say this one is $10,000 here, right?
Yeah.
You're paying $50 a month here, and you pay this $5,000 off, right? Instead of now, it's because they're used to paying this $50 already. Instead of now blowing that money, you would just utilize it to the next bill. So instead of paying $100 which you were used to paying, now you're going to increase that because you're already used to paying that $50 a month. So now you just add it to here, and now you accelerate this $1,000 even quicker.
Oh, okay, because you already got it paid off. You already, okay, I got you.
So you utilize it, so in total, you're spending $300 in total, right? In total for your debt payments, right? That's the total amount you're spending.